Dane County has seen more and more pedestrians hit by vehicles. How one local woman is working to prevent more of these incidents from happening.
As we near the midterm election, we'll take a closer look at which candidates are leading the polls.
And the Federal Reserve once again raises interest rates in hopes of lowering inflation. How that move will impact your wallet. You're watching News 3 Now at 5. And thanks for staying with us. A woman is now facing charges after she was arrested for a hit and run in Columbia County.
Deputies say the 43-year-old hit a bicyclist and then drove off. It happened on Highway J near Colts Road yesterday. The bicyclist was hospitalized with serious injuries. An officer later spotted the suspect's vehicle and stopped the woman. That officer said the woman showed signs of impairment during the traffic stop. The woman was arrested and is now facing hit and run charges. Sadly, there have been many of those stories this year. A bicyclist or a person walking getting hit by a car.
Well, one woman in Dane County is pledging to help prevent more of these things from happening. And our Catherine Merck is live in Oregon, where that woman lives. Catherine, what's her idea?
A woman in Oregon was driving down this road here when she posted on Facebook saying that she nearly hit a jogger. That near awful encounter inspired her to take action. She wrote on Facebook that she will buy a reflective bag of vests for people to put out for people to wear. She says this is her small way of making sure people know about the dangerous encounters that can happen with drivers, joggers, and bikers in the area.
My son is a runner who was jogs out there, and I thought, oh my gosh, that could have been him. And I don't want it to be anybody's son or anybody's family member.
Last week, a 71-year-old bicyclist was hit and killed while riding on John Nolan Drive early in the morning. The woman referenced his death, among others, in her post. She plans to put a couple dozen reflective vests on Lincoln Road, that's on Oregon's south side, for people to be able to use. Reporting live in Oregon, I'm Catherine Merck with News 3 Now.
And Catherine, thank you. Madison police are investigating after more than a dozen shell casings were found in a neighborhood on the city's west side. And officers were called to the 7100 block of Flower Lane just before 7:30 last night after several callers reported hearing gunshots. Now, no injuries or any property damage was reported, and it's unclear what led to that shooting. Anyone with information is asked to contact police. Well, let's get a look at your certified most accurate forecast. Julian Searide out on the weather patio, enjoying another warm one, Julian.
That's right, and we have the pleasure of getting just one more day before we start to see some changes. But let's go ahead and plan out what the rest of our evening is going to pan out for us. Plenty of blue skies, and on top of it, it's going to stay rather clear until we get to later into this evening. But enjoy the 70s while we have it, because we are going to cool down as we head into tonight. But it's a nice cool down, rather gradual, as we're going to be into the 50s by the time we get close to the midnight hour, but cloud cover is going to look to develop as well. And we're going to bottom out at around 52 degrees, but we're not looking at too much in terms of impacts of any kind of rain or even colder conditions just yet. But tonight around southern Wisconsin, 52 for us here in Madison and for Janesville, and around 54 degrees over towards Platteville. And as we get into the rest of the week, well, you're going to need to grab the rain gear. We'll talk about the impacts of the changes that are on the horizon for us in just a few moments. Until then, let's go ahead and toss it back to you guys.
Julian, thank you. With Election Day now just 6 days out, the Marquette Law School is releasing its final poll of the campaign season in the race for governor. This is among likely voters. Governor Tony Evers and Republican challenger Tim Michels are both at 48 apiece. The governor had a 1-point lead a month ago. In the race for U.S. Senate, again, among likely voters, Senator Ron Johnson with a 2-point lead, 50-48 over his Democratic challenger Mandela Barnes. Now that is 4 points closer than it was just a month ago. Both races fall well within the polls' margin of error at 4.8% of likely voters conducted over the last week. And here is poll director Charles Franklin.
I hate to say it all comes down to turnout, but it all comes down to turnout. Turnout in Milwaukee is something that varies, especially tends to fall off in midterms, but we'll see. The Democrats especially, but both parties are working really hard to get those voters who voted for the first time in 2018 or in 2020 to come back to the polls and support their candidates.
Now you can take a closer look at the numbers in a story we have on the front page of our website. Now we also have everything you need to know about Tuesday's election, including where you can vote, what you should bring to the polls. That's all at channel3000.com. And we'll also share results in real time as the votes are counted on election night.
In Florida, voters are facing some confusion over who is allowed to vote. Nearly 24 former felons were arrested this summer and charged with voter fraud. Ronald Miller said he registered to vote after being approached by a canvasser at a grocery store. He received a registration card in the mail and voted in 2020, but because he was a convicted murderer, he was not actually eligible to vote. Miller was arrested days after state police showed up to his home, flagging the violation.
He was issued a voter registration card. He voted. And it's as simple as that. My opinion is that state officials wanted to have a chilling effect on people who are going to vote.
Miller is among 20 former felons arrested in the Florida crackdown. At least one case has already been dismissed, and Miller is hoping for the same at his next hearing in December. His questions for the court: why was he given permission to vote, and why is he being blamed for the mistake?
Election preparations are now underway to make sure Americans can make their voices heard safely and securely. Natalie Brand shows us how.
Helicopters flew low over the U.S. Capitol for a security exercise just 6 days ahead of midterm elections. Capitol Police Chief Tom Manger is calling for more security resources to protect lawmakers, citing today's political climate.
Demonizing rhetoric, false claims of election fraud paired with calls for action against other parties, individuals, are what can combine to cause real harm. So
Shannon Hiller tracks political violence as the head of the Bridging Divides initiative at Princeton University. She says despite concerning rhetoric, people should feel safe going to vote.
It's a period of heightened tension, but there's so many groups, whether it's poll workers, administrators, community groups, who have been able to prepare a long time for this day.
A federal intelligence bulletin warned that domestic violent extremists across the ideological spectrum pose a heightened threat to the midterms and beyond Election Day, though there are no specific threats currently. As threats against members of Congress have increased, Capitol Police say they're continuing to monitor thousands of cases nationwide and coordinating with state and local agencies. CBS News has confirmed cameras captured the break-in at House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's San Francisco home, video accessible to Capitol officers monitoring high-interest locations. Suspect David DePape, accused of assaulting the Speaker's husband, Paul Pelosi, has pleaded not guilty to charges including attempted murder.
Someone who was willing to enact violence that was politically motivated.
Prosecutors say he had a list of politicians he was targeting. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Now, DePape's public defender hinted at a possible legal defense, saying his team will look into reports that his client was influenced by misinformation.
Women were heavily influential in congressional races in 2018 and 2020, and this year there's a range of new issues on the minds of many. Women have voted at higher rates than men in every presidential and midterm election since 1984, based on a tally by the Center for American Women and Politics. On top of mind, school safety, mental health, and health care.
I want all patients to have their access to what they need and what they want. Patients deserve knowing what their options are.
It breaks my heart that kids go to school daily, and in that given day, they may have to get up under their desk or find a place to hide.
In the 2018 midterms, the first of Donald Trump's presidency, and as the Me Too movement gained steam, women voters boosted Democrats, but recent polls cite the economy and inflation as the top issue for voters overall this cycle, which could help Republicans.
People who could get very sick from COVID or already are can now receive life-saving medicine shipped directly to their doorstep.
That's quite the change from about a year ago when those medicines were first approved, but tough to come by. It's thanks to a new service the State Department of Health Services launched today. Andrew Banstra is here to tell us how it works. Andrew?
It's pretty simple. Schedule an appointment online or by calling the DHS, meet virtually with a clinician, and then you can go get your prescription for Paxlovid shortly thereafter.
We have ample supply of these medications, which puts us in a really good place should we need it, and make them as widely available as possible to patients who are appropriate and who are likely to benefit.
But that doesn't mean just anyone can get prescribed. Today, the state DHS explained it's still hoping to get these antiviral COVID drugs in the hands of those who truly need it.
It's a comprehensive look at the patient to see, do they have any medical conditions that are going to place them at increased risk of developing severe disease.
The state's new telehealth appointments take about 30 minutes and can be done right from home or wherever you are, helping improve access to people whether you live in a city or a rural area.
That's the rationale for this telehealth service being statewide, is to whatever challenges patients may face, no matter where they live, that they have ready access to these medications.
Much like COVID vaccines, getting Paxlovid or Lagevrio pills are completely free. The DHS hopes more people taking this medicine who truly need it will help slow down any COVID rebirth this winter.
Our goals were really to maximize access, during the day and 7 days a week, and to get turnaround as quick as possible. And so with the telehealth service that we're rolling out here, the licensed clinical provider who can prescribe these medications, they're available 12 hours a day, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days a week.
If you're prescribed pills through the telehealth visit, you can pick up your prescription at your pharmacy of choice. And if you can't get to a pharmacy, the state will ship them to your home overnight.
Andrew, thank you. Beautiful weather continues this week. Julian has the complete forecast next.
Plus, the Federal Reserve makes its latest decision on interest rates, how the new policy is making it more expensive to borrow money. And later, for all of you early voters, have you ever wondered what happens after you cast your ballot? Our Naomi Coles investigates tonight at 6.
And that interest rate movement triggers a 505-point dive for the Dow. The NASDAQ falls more than 366 points. That S&P tumbles 96. We'll be right back.
DePaco Credit Union members are better together because together members share thank yous, a DePaco-only perk that thanks members in cash. And because you're not just a member, you're also an owner, everyone benefits. How will this year's nearly $3.7 million in thank yous benefit you and your community? Since 2016, DePaco members have shared nearly $24.4 million. We truly are better together. Join the movement where your member ownership pays. Visit your nearest DePaco branch or join online at depaco.com.
Remember this? Forecasts are predicting an unreasonably cold and snowy winter. Now's the time to winterproof your home with USA Insulation. 35% more efficient than traditional insulation. Our foam in your walls keeps the cold air out and your warm air in. It's like putting a coat around your entire home. Call now before winter and get a $500 early bird discount.
USA Insulation.
I see your hard work, everything you do to try to make it, but people continue to be left behind. I'm running for Senate to put more money in your pocket. Ron Johnson's had 12 years to make things better, but costs are still rising, and all he's managed to do is write a tax cut for himself. I believe better is possible. I believe hard work can pay off, and I'll never stop fighting until it does. I'm Mandela Barnes, and I approve this message.
This is how it feels to do more with less asthma, thanks to Dupixent. Dupixent is not for sudden breathing problems. It's an add-on treatment for specific types of moderate to severe asthma and can help improve lung function for better breathing in as little as 2 weeks. Dupixent helps prevent asthma attacks and can even reduce or eliminate oral steroids. Imagine that. Dupixent can cause allergic reactions that can be severe. Get help right away if you have rash, chest pain, worsening shortness of breath, tingling, or numbness in your limbs. Tell your doctor about new or worsening joint aches and pain or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines, including steroids, without talking to your doctor. Who knows what you can do when you do more with less asthma? Ask your asthma specialist about Dupixent.
With Election Day just 6 days away, News 3 Now walks you through your ballot's chain of custody. We show you how your vote and your voice is protected.
And then we have a reality check on the Attorney General candidates. That's tonight on News 3 Now at 6.
As Campaign 2022 approaches the finish line, News 3 Now presents a special midterm election preview.
We're spotlighting key races and issues, fact-checking candidates, and hearing the voices of voters in battleground Wisconsin.
Saturday at 7 p.m. on News 3 Now. You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Welcome back. Interest rates are climbing higher once again. The Federal Reserve is taking action in hopes of easing inflation. Bradley Blackburn reports.
Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell says interest rates have to go up to bring inflation and prices down.
Price stability is the responsibility of the Federal Reserve and serves as the bedrock of our economy. Without price stability, the economy does not work for anyone.
The board is raising a benchmark rate 0.75 of a percentage point. The sixth increase of the year is an attempt to cool off the economy.
Rising interest rates are having some effect. Mortgage rates doubled over the past year and are now at a 20-year high. That's causing home prices to fall.
And the average interest rate for a used car is around 9.2%. That has fewer people visiting lots, which is helping build more supply.
Now that the inventory is starting to normalize, the used car prices are starting to come down.
But prices for many other items continue to rise, including necessities like food and electricity. That's why economists predict the Fed will keep raising rates in the coming months, but could ease the size of increases.
There was a mention that the Fed may kind of take a deeper breath or maybe not raise rates by as much in the next series of meetings to see how those interest rate increases are filtering through the broader economy.
The Fed's ultimate goal is to see the current inflation rate of 8% come down to just 2%. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
The Federal Reserve's next decision on interest rates will come next month.
Well, with the rise in those interest rates, the cost of borrowing hurting home buyers and also sellers. With today's hike, a monthly mortgage payment on a $400,000 home would cost you about $750 more a month than it did earlier this year. According to the National Association of Realtors, about 60,000 deals have been canceled so far this year, the highest year on record since the start of the pandemic. And also, new listings are down about 19% from a year ago. Sales of existing homes have also dropped now for 8 straight months.
What is the end game to all this?
I think we're going to see way less transactions in 2023. I think people are going to be sitting on the sidelines until things settle down.
Fewer homes are being purchased also means less construction, as well as people buying fewer items like appliances, and it could all have a huge ripple effect throughout the economy.
It is the economy that is the top priority for midterm candidates on both sides, but the numbers are sending mixed messages. Americans are now facing decades-high inflation and talks of an impending recession, but also a solid job market and a summer of economic growth. The constant, sometimes confusing headlines have the issue top of mind for voters across the country, especially in key midterm states like Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania with its crucial U.S. Senate races. Well, let's get a look now at the weather. Julian Seawright has the forecast. Julian?
Well, things are going to stay rather mild from not just today, but going into our Thursday. But one thing we're going to be watching for is the changes that are going to be coming as we get into our Thursday nights. But as of right now, for our surface map, the mild conditions are holding firm here in the upper Midwest as we're continuing to see breezy southerly winds that are bringing in not only just mild air for us, but a bit of some moisture as well for areas just to the west. This is mainly for Iowa and Minnesota and to the Dakotas. But we're going to be watching this low over the next couple of days and how that's going to be bringing in our rain potential by the time we get into our Friday morning. But for tonight's temperatures are going to be into the lower 50s, still holding rather mild for us here in southern Wisconsin. A bit of cloud cover is going to build, but we are going to start to see it clear off rather quickly into our Thursday morning, but then we're going to see it build once again going into our Thursday evening. But for tomorrow, we're looking at temperatures to once again be on the mild side. 71 degrees, and we're going to see our skies start off and be, for the most part, sunny. But until we get into our Thursday evening, And that's when we're going to start to see the developments of cloud cover for us here in southern Wisconsin. But 71 for Madison, 73 in Janesville, and another 71 for Platteville. Many of us are going to be in the lower 70s and the upper 60s just north of Dane County. So it's still going to be another day for you to get outside and truly enjoy the weather. But as we go into as we're heading out the door for our Thursday morning, we're going to see open skies. Still going to be rather breezy. It's going to be into the lower 50s. And then lunchtime, it's going to really pick up. We're looking at windy conditions throughout southern Wisconsin. Mid-60s, and by the time we get into our early and late afternoon hours, some of that cloud cover is going to start to develop just west of Dane County, and on top of it, we're going to see those lower 70s still hold firm, and then it's going to be stable into the 60s as we carry overnight from our Thursday going into our Friday morning. So as you're walking out the door Friday morning, things are going to feel rather mild for us. Lower 60s, plenty of cloud cover. It's going to be breezy, and a couple of showers are going to start to develop, but we're really not going to see the action until we get into the late morning and around the lunchtime hour, where we're going to start to see plenty of clusters of showers and thunderstorms, and on top of it, bands of rain is going to really just stall out and continue to flow through much of southern Wisconsin by the time we get into our Friday afternoon and evening hours, and especially heading into Friday nights. We're going to continue to see this system just really stall out and continue to bring in showers and thunderstorm chances throughout much of the day. But this also means that for Friday night football, or even going into our Saturday, which has the Badgers playing at 11 o'clock, we're going to be anticipating some showers and thunderstorms once again. So that's something to be planning for as well. Outside of that, though, we are looking for potential rain totals to be within the 2 to 3 inches range for many of us here in southern Wisconsin, which is helpful because we are still in an abnormally dry and moderate droughts throughout much of southern Wisconsin. Let's take a look at our 10-day forecast throughout the course of the next few days. We're still going to stay rather mild, and our cool down is not going to be overly cool. Our overnight lows are going to be from 60 to 50 and then go into the 40s, and on top of it, temperatures will be into the 60s as well until we get into next week. One other thing to remind everybody, we are looking for setting our clocks back from Saturday night into Sunday as we're ending our daylight savings. Over to you guys.
All right, Julian, thank you. Coming up, do you find it hard to adapt to change? You're not alone. Why some find it harder to accept change when we come back.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Aren't you tired of the division and the anger? I know I sure am. Our country faces enormous challenges. I promise I'll do everything I can to help make things better, and I'll always tell you the truth. What continues to give me hope are the kind and decent people I meet all over Wisconsin. People who love America and are willing to work hard to unify and heal it. Please join us. I'm Ron Johnson, I approve this message, and I'm asking for your vote.
Wells Fargo lets you know where you stand with your FICO credit score. What if you knew where you stood with everything, like your future in-laws?
Hope you like cats.
I hope your parents like me. They're whispering.
The kitties like her.
Can they tell I'm allergic? Tears of joy.
Welcome to the family.
Like knowing where you stand? When it comes to your credit score, you can with Wells Fargo.
Warm up the room with an electric fireplace from Pleasant Hearth at Menards. Doubling as an entertainment center, add ambience to any room with its realistic flames and embers. Adjust everything from temperature to flame levels with its multifunctional remote. Save 11% on electric fireplaces. Be sure to discover the Criterion advantages with our great selection of in-stock appliances. All energy efficient, from dishwashers and refrigerators to washers and dryers. All Criterion appliances are 11% off at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
It was Halloween. My daughter stopped at 3 homes, her girlfriend's house, her teacher's house, and the man that murdered her. He molested her and he put her in a garbage bag. He was going to be released in 2018. Josh called. He was not there for me at all. You want some help to find out what's going on, and he doesn't help. He don't care about the victims. I know Eric Toney does. Eric Toney helped keep that man that murdered my daughter from being released. Eric Toney's always been there for me, and that's the kind of attorney general we need.
What happens to your body language when you use Dove Dry Spray? It shows. Try Dove Dry Spray. Our weightless formula with 1/4 moisturizers is effective and kind to skin, leaving you feeling instantly dry and confident.
Got other things to do this week?
You pour your heart into everything you do, which is a lot. So take care of that heart with Lipton. Because sipping on unsweetened Lipton can help support a healthy heart. Lipton. Stop chugging, start sipping.
As governor, I'll always try to do the right thing. I've worked with both parties to find middle ground to improve and invest in our public schools, cut income taxes, and put our state on solid financial footing. But here's what I won't do. I won't cut public school funding. I won't be Donald Trump's puppet, and I'll never allow radical politicians to make decisions about abortion. That should be left to women and their doctors. I'm Tony Evers, and I'm asking for your vote.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Welcome back, everyone. If you find it hard to quit a bad habit, or if you struggle to start a new routine, you could have something called how do you say this?
I think it is metathesiophobia.
Thank you.
It's one of those words we learn on the news when we read it,
Yes,
as we read it.
Thank you.
But this is basically known as the fear of change, and it could be your brain's way of actually trying to protect you. Health officials say the brain often sees change as a bit of a threat, and that can lead to feelings of uncertainty or loss of control. Studies show kids are usually better at adapting to change than adults, mostly because they experience it more often. But there are things you can do to better cope, including incorporating change into your life on a more regular basis.
Get out of your set patterns, whatever it may be. Take up a hobby, do something that's different.
Yeah, Dr. Gupta has a really boring idea for trying something different. He says it can be as easy as just using your non-dominant hand for the day. Anything, he says, to break yourself of normal routines. Well, stay with us. I kind of like the routine of 70-degree weather to start November. Julian's back with a final check of your first warn forecast after a short break.
Tim Michaels and Tony Evers have very different plans for Wisconsin. Tim Michaels wants to ban abortion, including in cases of rape or incest. Tony Evers wants to get your costs down. Michaels would jail the doctors who perform abortions. Evers would lower cost for families. And while Michaels said gay people shouldn't leave their house, Evers is still really set on that cost thing. So here's the choice. Tim Michaels' plan for fewer rights and more division, or Tony Evers' plan to drive costs down, down, down.
When cleaning your air ducts, it's important to clean the entire system. An air duct cleaning from Stanley Steamer removes pounds of trapped dirt, dust, and allergens from your home completely. A cleaning that improves your home's indoor air quality, keeps your home cleaner longer, and can even improve the efficiency of your HVAC system. We want you to have the cleanest and healthiest indoor air possible. So call for a free inspection today.
Stanley Steamer gets your home cleaner.
The Internet of Things is evolving, creating the Internet of You. And Spectrum, America's leading internet and mobile provider, is bringing you seamless connectivity across all your devices. Introducing Spectrum One, Spectrum Internet with speeds of 300 megabits, advanced Wi-Fi, and Spectrum Mobile Unlimited, all for just $49.99 a month. Call 833-673-4999. Spectrum Internet delivers speeds up to a gig with over 99.9% network reliability. Advanced Wi-Fi provides enhanced security and privacy that automatically blocks threats to protect all of your devices. And Spectrum Mobile gives you unlimited talk, text, and data with nationwide 5G and the most reliable service coast to coast. Switch now. Call 833-673-4999. At Spectrum, it's not just about connecting things, it's about connecting you. Get it all with Spectrum One, Spectrum Internet, advanced Wi-Fi, and one line of Spectrum Mobile Unlimited for $49.99 a month. Call 833-673-4999 or visit a Spectrum store today.
To everyone who craves a fresh meal, come have a taste of Wisconsin.
America's Dairyland, as in real dairy.
It gives Culver's fresh frozen custard its famous rich and creamy flavor.
Like really rich.
So rich.
Rich and creamy.
And our cook-to-order Butterburgers?
They're topped with, you guessed it, Wisconsin cheese.
But it's the smiles we put on your face with every meal made just for you.
It really makes our hearts melt.
From Wisconsin with love. Welcome to Delicious.
Nice.
As governor, I'll always try to do the right thing. I've worked with both parties to find middle ground to improve and invest in our public schools, cut income taxes,
and put our state on solid financial footing. But here's what I won't do. I won't cut public school funding. I won't be Donald Trump's puppet. And I'll never allow radical politicians to make decisions about abortion. That should be left to women and their doctors. I'm Tony Evers, and I'm asking for your vote.
Tonight on the CBS Evening News, with 6 days until the midterms, President Biden delivers a surprise speech on protecting democracy. Plus, the cost of heating oil for your home this winter could nearly double. We have important tips to help you save. And how a foster child is serving his community in more ways than one. That's all tonight on the CBS Evening News.
Well, let's go back to Julian with a final check of our forecast.
Well, like you said, Eric, we have a trend, which is awesome because it's 70 degrees in this trend, and we're going to still slide just a little bit in terms of mild conditions, but it's going to be in the 60s heading into the weekend. But, folks, we're going to need the rain gear throughout our Friday and our Saturday. We are looking for a plethora of rain that's going to be sitting around for us until we get into our Saturday evening. But also, don't forget, we are falling back Saturday nights into Sunday.
All right, we're back in 30 minutes. For News 3 Now at 6, stay tuned now for the CBS Evening News.